Hey, welcome. I'm April. Oh, and just turn up my volume here. There we go. So, I'm April, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder of the Love and Loss Project, which is an online comfort and inspiration station for people who have experienced baby loss or for friends and family to learn a little bit more about how to support other people through baby loss. And feel free to send me some questions as we do this conversation because I would love to hear from you and I would love to make this time useful for you. If you do type a question and I don't see it, I really apologize. I'm playing with the settings of my broadcast to try to reduce some of the interference by trolls. So feel free to, if you follow me, then I can follow you and then you can participate in this a little bit more next time. So I'm also accepting questions. People can send in questions ahead of time if they like as well to my lovelossproject.com or to my Facebook page or my Instagram account. But today I had something that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, which is the idea of gratitude and baby loss survival. The words gratitude and baby loss don't really go really hand in hand very well for some obvious reasons. This is such a devastating thing and time to have to endure. But what I found was I kind of experimented with a couple tips when I went through my loss that have been really helpful for me in pulling myself out of the pit of despair that grief knocks us into and for starting to recreate a new life. So, as we know, when we experience baby loss, we lose so much around that. That's not even just our little one, but we lose so much about how we expected our life was going to look, how what we pictured ourselves doing, what we pictured our roles looking like, our hopes, our dreams, our plans for the day. And so there is so much lost. And when we experience so much loss, I think it is really useful to start to put a lot of focus on what we have and what remains. And believe me, I know that some days that is really, really, really hard to do. And this talk was inspired because a friend of mine had sent me a link to this incredible YouTube video that I've actually posted on my Facebook page of this woman who experienced baby loss and then participated in 365grateful.com. So the website is 365grateful.com. And it's a photography project where people are encouraged to snap a picture of one thing that they're grateful of every day. And what this woman talked about in the video, which I thought was so powerful and so beautiful and so raw and honest, was how some days, of course, that was really hard to find something, anything, that she could really take a snapshot of in a moment of feeling genuine gratitude or appreciation for that after experiencing so much loss and so much devastation. And I think we can all relate to that. I certainly can. And but I had also came across an idea a long time ago, or a few years ago actually, which was these good things that happened jar project. And so I'd seen it just on a post that came up on my Facebook feed, and I think a family member had actually sent it to me, which was really cool. And my whole family did it, and basically we all created these jars that we kept, on our kitchen counter somewhere. And I would write down something whenever I could think of anything or noticed anything that I was even partially enjoying or even partially happy about or even, could experience some gratitude with that. And so I would write it down and I would fold it up in a little piece of paper and I would stick it in here. And watching this grow did a couple things for me. So one, it helped me to really train or retrain my brain to scan my environment for something positive. Because we know when we're experiencing loss, there's so much negativity that follows that in so many ways. And there's so much hurt and pain that follows that and shows up all over the place in so many ways. And so it's often, in my experience, kind of like we're tripping over new painful things all the time. And so it's possible, and our brains are actually trained to have what we even call a negativity bias, which is really our brain's abilities to naturally pay more attention to the things that are upsetting, or the things that are hurtful, or the things that are potential threats, emotionally, physically, whatever that is, because that's really been an important feature in the survival of our species. And when we know is when we experience loss, we are often in such a state of depression and heartbreak and despair that it is impossible, nearly impossible, to see anything bright, to notice anything beautiful. And this also reminds me of this idea that I came across in watching an interview by Elizabeth Gilbert. And if anyone else is an Elizabeth Gilbert fan out there, let me know. But she talked about going through a depression at a certain time in her life, and that she realized that she was just kind of spiraling deeper and deeper downward into this pit. And she said that she was told this story about standing in a post office and realizing that, her choices were really limited. The things that she wanted to do, she didn't have the freedom or the funds to do that she thought would be solutions that would help to make her happier. And so she was really kind of just stuck in a city that she didn't want to be in, doing things that she didn't want to do, living a life that she didn't want to live. And she said that she realized that she needed to do something about the effect that was all having on her. And so she gave herself a task, which was the idea of making herself be open to, and the task of literally searching out something beautiful in the city, that she wasn't going to let herself go home that day until she even came across one thing that she could stand back and look at and appreciate, truly feel some form of connection or beauty or gratitude for that beautiful thing that she saw. And she said that she kind of took a few minutes. She was standing in the post office, and she took a few minutes to really get herself into that zone and to really commit to that, almost a joy scavenger hunt, right? And so she committed to that idea, and she told the story of stepping outside and witnessing that there happened to be a circus in town that particular day that she didn't know about. And the circus happened to be doing promotion for their upcoming show. So at the same moment that she was coming out of that door, there was all of these elephants literally walking down Main Street with all of these beautiful women wearing beautiful gold and glitter and sparkles, and were literally waving to her as she was coming out on the street, because she was one of the people just standing right there in that very moment. And so I thought that was such a beautiful story to think about, because I think it kind of just suggests that when we force ourselves, and I think that's kind of the state that we're in when we're in grief, if we wait until we feel like doing these things, we're really not probably ever going to have that happen spontaneously. But if we make that commitment that I know that I need to feel better, I know that I deserve to get myself out of this, I know that my little one would want me to be happy, if we give ourselves that permission to do that and that nudge to set that up, then I think that it can really be helpful to help us to start to reconnect to our own life and start to reconnect to the idea of being alive again. I use a phrase that I think that grief, really in my definition of it is a state of existence between the dead and the living, right? We're not fully engaged with where we are right now, and we're not able to be with the ones that we lost. So we're literally just stuck in this limbo kind of state of existence. And so I'd love to know your thoughts on that. But I thought I would just so this was one of the things that worked for me. It's simple, it's easy, it's just a little mason jar. So I had done that for the last year. And because I found that helped to train my brain and helped to boost a little bit of the positivity in the world and helped to screen my focus for that a little bit more, I decided to go a little bit bigger this year. So as you can see, I'm very optimistic that this is going to be an even better year, and I'm already on my way. It's got some good things happening in there already. But it was interesting because as I was just, setting on my little equipment here and bringing these jars over, I had actually just happened to open up some of these things that I had wrote down. And so it can be the tiniest, smallest things, right? I'm glad, I'm happy for my great cup of coffee, right? That was awesome. That was a great way to start my day. I had 10 minutes to myself, right? So it could be the smallest thing. And I think that's really the trick, is to make it small and tiny. So when I look up some of mine, August 25th, a nice day with my nephew on his birthday. When I open up a couple more, it's funny because you start to see your life a little bit in hindsight, right? December 19th, went to hot yoga, which I love. That is always a good thing that ends up in my jar. And posted a new blog post. Let me see what else I got. I'm gonna open up another more. What else do I have going on? Being in a position to be able to fund Kiva loans, just helped another borrower run their business in Sierra Leone. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Kiva, it's one of my favorite organizations on the planet. You actually lend loans, so it's not a charity, but you can lend small units as $25, and it makes a huge impact in somebody somewhere that needs it, being able to be more self-sufficient and more successful in their own lives. August 24th, 2015, I climbed 7 mountains in 19 hours. OMG, incredible views. That's actually a true story. I should tell you about that on my blog one day, or on my Periscope one day, but that's a bit of another adventure. And so as you see, it's sometimes hard to even just witness the amazingness of some of the things that we're doing already. But when we put it down on paper, it's helpful to kind of just give ourselves almost evidence that I am still alive, and I am doing this, and I am surviving this, and I do have some reasons to keep moving forward and to keep creating a life that is worth living. So thank you so much for coming in. Oh, one more thing. I would love to hear from anybody. I'm actually starting to create a passion project of mine. I'm super excited about it. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I'm starting to create a workbook. And I would love to hear from you what you would find useful to have in that workbook. It's essentially just a healing program that people can access anytime, anywhere. So thank you so much for coming by. If you like this video, I would appreciate it if you shared it with your friends. I'm going to be posting it on my Facebook page, lovelostproject.com. Thank you for the hearts. That's so kind of you. And I so appreciate that you all make the time to come here. That means a lot to me, and I'm really glad to be a part of your day. So thank you for that, and take good care of yourselves, and keep doing what you're doing. Take care.